All right, it's the time we've all been waiting for. It's my winter weather forecast. Let's get into it. First off, you can get a winter forecast from a lot of different locations. Like the Old Farmer's Almanac, they're saying, hey, it's going to be cold and snowy. There's another almanac that you can look at. They're saying unseasonably cold and snowy for our area. So there's two for you winter lovers out there. The NOAA Winter Outlook comes out each year as well. They look at temperature and they're saying it could be near normal. They're saying though precipitation is going to be above normal. So those are just a handful of different forecast outlooks that you can check out for yourself. But I'm going to get into some of the things I look at. And one of those is whether we're in an El Nino or a La Nina. All of it has to do with what's happening at the equator there. The sea surface temperatures, when it is below normal or cooler than normal. So here's the United States, here's the equator right here. That blue indicating cooler than normal sea surface temperatures. That means we are in a La Nina. In the forecast, you can see each one of these little blue bars is indicating the likelihood for either a La Nina or an El Nino to occur. And you can see this blue bar here is way up, saying that in December, January, February, we're looking at La Nina. So we kind of look at that. And then I can go back and look at all the years in the past where we've had moderate La Ninas, and that's what we've had. And what's been interesting is we've had 2 years in a row of moderate La Ninas, and guess what? We're going to do it for a third year. So I wanted to go back and look at when we've had 3 years in a row of a La Nina. We go back and try to find what we call an analog year. It's a year that we can kind of compare to what we're getting ready to go into. And I found one in 2000, 2001. That's the year I'm going to be kind of looking at some of the data and comparing back to. We can look at the past 5 La Nina winters, including the one in 2000, 2001 I was just talking about. We had 23 inches of snow. Last year in a La Nina winter, we had about 19 inches. Look how very close these amounts were for the last 5 La Nina winters. You can probably guess I'm going to be leaning towards that. But there are other things I look at, like snowpack in Siberia. In the fall actually has a correlation to what's happening down here. If there's a small snowpack up in Siberia and up into Canada here, sometimes that means that maybe not as much cold air spills down in here. This fall, we have definitely been below normal up here across Siberia. So that, again, can sometimes mean, hey, maybe not as cold. Another thing that's interesting, sunspot activity. What's going on in the sun? And we're on this increase. We've had a lot of sunspot activity over the past year or so, and it's increasing. That correlates to usually warmer conditions. When the sun's more active, you get warmer temperatures for the winter. So let's get into the forecast. I'm going with near normal temperatures coming up here, but I think we can have some precipitation events. Rainfall going to be above normal. When we look at that important snow forecast, just below. That doesn't mean we're not going to get some winter events. We are, because the average snow is 23 inches, and if we look back at those past La Nina winters, we were in that kind of 19 to 22 inch range, and that is what I'm predicting for this upcoming winter season. How about a white Christmas this year? That's a pretty small chance. We're going to give you about a 25% chance, so a 1 in 4 chance of that occurring, so don't get your hopes up too much. So let's get you a little bit of a recap here. Key takeaways to the forecast. It's a typical Illinois winter. Very typical for us here. We're going to have some snow. We're going to have some warm periods in there as well, but I think the temperatures are going to be fairly normal when it all shakes out. But I want to mention this, winter tornadoes. We talked about it earlier in the show. That could be something. White Christmas chance is pretty low, and I'm going with between 19 and 22 inches of the white stuff in my forecast.